Hello, my name is Tori Sampson. I'm presenting a poster called Individually Self. Prefer pairings between copulas and predicates in American Sign Language. First, I'd like to recommend that you pull up this video on one half of your computer screen and have the other half be the PDF of the poster. That way, you can browse through the poster while watching me present. First, the background. Previous research on ASL have stated that there seems to be a zero copula, meaning that there is no overt copula. But a recent paper by Sampson and Mayberry submitted argued that there is an overt copula in the form of self. Self has been found to participate in the copula cycle for the past 150 years of ASL history. Also, Sampson and Mayberry noticed that self had a propensity to pair with individual level predicates. What are those? There are two predicate property types: individual level and stage level predicates. Individual level predicates indicate a property that is inherent to an individual entity, such as deaf, plumber, or tall. Individual level predicates tend to be temporarily immutable. On the other hand, stage level predicates are temporally changeable, meaning they can be short or long in duration. Some examples are sit, think, or run. Predicates rest on a spectrum in that nouns are usually individual level and verbs are often stage level. Now we are interested in the question of what behavioral profile self has. Meanwhile, we do not focus only on self. There are other copula competitors. They are the point and null copula, as you can see with the three pictures on the poster. We also recognize cross-linguistic variation in predication of individual level predicates. For instance, in the English sentence, Lily is a teacher, the words a teacher is an individual level predicate, and for that reason, English uses a copula. Meanwhile, in Arabic, a teacher is also an individual level predicate, but this does not necessitate a copula for predication. There's some variation, but there is a universal tendency for languages to use copulas to predicate individual level predicates. Now, our two big questions are, is self in fact a copula in ASL? And two, are copulas self, point, and null modulated by predicate property types? Those are the two questions we aim to answer. Now, the methods. There were a total of 37 participants, all of whom are deaf and native or early signers. They were sent a link through which they accessed the experiment with a practice session. The task was a two-alternative forced choice task, which consisted of a video of a signed sentence showing up on the left side of the screen. Once that was watched, another video showed up on the right side of the screen. The participant then had to decide which signed sentence was the most accurate. They would choose a keyboard button to correspond with their choice. This is a 2x2 factorial design with predicate, stage level, individual level, and copula of self, point, and null. And this was split into two experiments, one comparing self with the point, and another comparing self with the null. You can view some example sentences on the poster. And now, the results. In the first experiment, ANOVA analyses showed the statistical significance of the effect of the interaction between predicate and copula. The effect of predicate is also statistically significant. There is no statistical significance for the effect of copula. In the second experiment, ANOVA analyses again show a statistical significance of the interaction between predicate and copula on how participants chose the preferred sentence of the two possible sentences. If you look at the graphs, you can see a clear preference for self to pair with individual level predicates. and for pointing and null to pair with stage-level predicates. This preference is statistically significant. The results provide an answer to the two questions. The first question, is self in fact a copula? The answer is the propensity of self to pair with individual level predicates, along with the universal tendency of copulas to pair with individual level predicates, confirms that self is a copula in ASL. The second question of whether copulas are modulated by predicate property types is affirmed in that predicate types do indeed modulate copula usage. We can see this with the clear distinction between preferred pairings of copulas and predicates. Moreover, that distinction seems to resemble a contrastive distribution, with an underlying spectrum between individual and stage-level predicates. On one end resides pointing and null, and on the other resides self. This question needs to be investigated further. Our next steps will be to develop an experiment delving into the gradiency of preference of the aforementioned spectrum. We will be using the Likert scale, a 1 to 7 scale rating for sentences. In conclusion, thank you, and if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to email me. And thank you to those who have helped out and contributed to this experiment. Thank you and goodbye.